Oh man, the Titan design looks way more human this season. Oh wait, that's Sasha. Attack on Titan's world is fantastic. I could do a whole video on how unique it is or how it doesn't require much exposition for its world building, but something I'm beginning to notice is a really powerful part of Attack on Titan is how its world design is the backbone of all of its strongest plot points. And since Attack on Titan Season 2 is now airing, I had the perfect time to talk about it and pick up on a potential wave of views. Just because you acknowledge it doesn't make it okay! Just because you acknowledge that you acknowledge it doesn't make it okay either! We know nothing about Attack on Titan. We don't know what the Titans are, where they come from, why they're doing the things they're doing, why they can transform. We don't know what's in the basement, why they chose this fucking name, and we don't know why these guys are so resolute about it. And this isn't a bad thing. You know, I think a lot of critics give bad raps to stuff that isn't explained, but I think this is one of the beauties of storytelling. It's not a science, it doesn't necessarily have a correct answer. Storytelling is this weird perception-based medium, and whether or not you believe there is an explanation, and therefore enjoy it, is more based on how much you already like it. And by the time you gotten to the end of the series to 100% confirm that the writer was indeed bullshitting you and had no explanation, it's too late, you've already enjoyed yourself. Unless you grumped your way through the whole thing because you didn't give the show the benefit of the doubt. In which case, what the fuck are you doing? The lack of information given to you in Attack on Titan has 3 separate benefits. The first and most obvious thing is, of course, mystery. Which, I don't really need to explain this, do I? What mystery is isn't exactly, mystery. The second thing is a lot more interesting, though. This is an incredible bounce board for plot twists. You know, when you first meet the Colossal Titan, you don't actually see him, there's a huge earthquake and he peekaboos the fuck out over the wall. This is intentional. You have no idea how he got there. Maybe he walked up and made a really loud noise, maybe he came from the ground or jumped, you can't really tell. But the last thing you expect is for him to be able to appear out of fucking nowhere. But because the writer has left the Titans as a complete mystery, he can do this, and he can turn a scene from hopeful and peaceful to utter frantic chaos in a fucking second. And you couldn't possibly see it coming because, again, you know nothing about Attack on Titan. What if the Titans can appear out of nowhere? What if they can summon all other Titans in an area? What if they can encase themselves in unbreakable crystal? You don't know, and Attack on Titan is going to abuse that for as long as it can. The third and final advantage of this setup is that it is a major factor in one of the biggest moments in the show. I'm planning a whole video on character deaths and the concept of real tension, but in short, I think the way critics use tension is utter bullshit. The way people use it implies you can create tension just by putting a character in a treacherous scenario. I'm sorry, but do you really feel tension just because the main character is holding onto a cliff? Why don't I just have a story where I had the main character hovering over various instruments of death for 40 minutes? When people are threatened with death in Game of Thrones specifically, I feel tension, because people have died in the past. When Mabel has to make a really difficult choice in Gravity Falls, I feel tension, because time was taken to make her only options equally treacherous. And when Attack on Titan trashes a shit ton of minor characters in 30 seconds, I feel tension for what's to come. I don't think people are so stupid as to think you'd kill a main character just because you hover them over a cliff. But when you specifically set the context for it, when you play chicken with your audience and say, "Motherfucker, I'm crazy, I'll fucking do it," that is real tension. Killing all these minor characters was a plot twist in of itself, but it holds a greater purpose of pressuring your audience to buy into what's to come, and it's fucking genius and I love it. And at the expense of sucking Attack on Titan's dick anymore, there is another factor at play here to really make everyone buy into even the possibility that you've killed a main character. To really trick your audience into thinking you've killed them, you've really got to prove to them that there is no feasible way for them to get out. Not only does Eren get eaten, but 2 of his limbs are removed in the process. There is no feasible way out of this, and even after that he'd be a broken character. He might as well be dead anyway. Now honestly, I would have preferred it if Mikasa had taken over as main character. Maybe she could absorb some of Eren's anger after this incident and she'd really start to feel sort of 3-dimensional. Unfortunately they didn't do this, but my feelings are irrelevant. The point is, at this moment, I really thought they could have killed a main character. And that made this probably the most powerful plot twist in the series. And it wouldn't have been possible if you knew anything about the Titans. It's actually going to be really interesting to see what this series is like going forward. The more and more we learn specifically about the Titans, and even just in general how powerful they are, the less and less likely we are to buy character deaths, get completely blindsided by plot twists, and of course, there will be less compelling mysteries. In fact, I'm going to call it. This anime will fall to pieces. I'll enjoy the ride for as long as I can, but this kind of plot structure, I'm just worried it's not very sustainable. Until then though, I'll say it again. We know nothing about Attack on Titan.